Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this session. I am just letting people in, and in about 2 minutes, we'll be ready to start. Thank you. We'll start. Good afternoon. I am Amanda Ingabire, and I'm the manager for community outreach and partnerships here at Ashe. We've just started a new session, a new summer session for our Real Knowledge series. Those that were able to attend the spring session that was catering to leadership, thank you so much for being back. This new one is on accessibility and AI and how we can use that to to better these spaces that we occupy, be it the classrooms or workplaces, and include neuro-inclusive individuals and Black disabled communities. So with us today, we have Kelvin Musodas, who's based in Vancouver, Canada, where he has experience leading the development of ethical, high-performance AI systems and software. His work focuses on building accessible and inclusive technologies that serve marginalized communities, especially at the intersection of race and innovation. He's also a member of Black in AI, a global network working to increase the presence, inclusion, and visibility of Black people in artificial intelligence. Kelvin is passionate about using technology to create real-world impact. So without further ado, I will invite Kelvin to start our presentation today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda, for the introduction. Uh, First of all, I'd like to say this is an area I'm really passionate in, and thank you to everyone for being here today. I'm honored to facilitate this session themed a balancing act between accessibility and AI. AI is transforming the world, but it doesn't affect all of us equally. For Black disabled communities, AI presents both incredible opportunities and real threats. We're here to explore how artificial intelligence intersects with accessibility and how it impacts Black disabled communities. This is a space for reflection, curiosity, and most of all, empowerment, as we're going to look at what it can do for us and what challenges we need to navigate and what tools are available to support us. Okay, so let's start with the basics. AI or artificial intelligence refers to computer systems that can learn patterns and perform human-like tasks. That might mean generating text, personalized learning, or identifying faces. Examples you might already know might include ChatGPT, Siri, Alexa, as these are all powered by AI. So what are the benefits of AI for Black disabled communities? First, I'd like to touch on independence. AI enables you to read, navigate, or complete tasks when human help isn't available, or when that help lacks cultural awareness. For example, there is a platform called Scene AI that narrates the environment for the visually impaired, as well as assistive tools that can level the playing field in school, work, and public services. I don't know if any one of you are F1 fans, but if you are, you may know Lewis Hamilton. He struggled through the educational system because he was dyslexic, and the school environment did not cater to his needs at that time. But now with tools like Oswald Labs that can cater for dyslexic users, you can see how AI is removing such barriers. AI is reshaping how students learn and how educators teach. AI platforms like Udemy that offer personalized learning paths, and intelligent tutoring systems adapt to your pace of learning and style of learning as well. So I'll dive a bit more into the examples of accessibility-focused AI tools in the next slide. AI tools, like there are AI tools like real-time translation, speech-to-text, and adaptive technologies that make learning a bit more accessible for students with disabilities or language barriers, ensuring equity in various fields. Here on this slide, there's some tools that are already helping folks in our communities. Uh, I already touched a bit on Seeing AI, but I'll go in depth on that. Seeing AI, it is a powered app that narrates the environment, recognizes text, objects, people, currency currency for the visually impaired. And one important thing to note is that it continuously improves with community feedback. And then there's Be My Eyes. It connects you to a volunteer or AI to identify objects, just as Seeing AI does, but with a human touch. Also, Labs offers tools like screen readers with also dyslexic friendly modes. And then there's JAWS, NVDA, VoiceOver, which are foundational screen readers that are as common and commonly used, but you can pair these with tools like ChatGPT for access to AI. All of these tools give us more autonomy and access. Okay. But we also have to be real about the threats. There are biases in vision tools for as for some facial recognition tools work poorly for darker skin tones and certain disabilities. Some tools that automatically add image descriptions like accessible often get things wrong or describe these images poorly. This can confuse users and essentially make these websites less accessible. There's also the issue of speech error, where voice AI may not understand dialects or speech patterns linked to disabilities. Relying too much on AI and these tools, which auto do everything and auto do tasks, can also lead to skill atrophy. Another one that is not here on this slide is that it can impact the privacy of users in terms of how this data is kept, especially in the freer versions. To fix these problems, we need inclusive design and ethical AI development. AI needs to be trained on diverse voices, skin tones, movement patterns, and abilities. There's also the need for co-design, where the Black and disabled community members must shape and test these AI tools. Tools must be explainable with community oversight and standards so we know how decisions are made for the sake of transparency. AI should enhance, but not replace human judgment or disability support systems that already exist. There are organizations like Black in AI and Algorithmic Justice League that stand at the forefront of ethics and inclusive design in AI already. So, as they say, nothing about us without us. So, how do we get started with AI? Firstly, we choose an AI tool that is aligned with your needs. That can be either vision, speech, reading, mobility, to name a few examples. We use a simple voice or text command without even worrying about sounding perfect. It will pick up on some errors and mistakes. And then we pair these tools for better access. For example, I mentioned earlier, like using a screen reader with ChatGPT. And we can also explore voice assistants on our phones, like Siri or the Google version. One thing you can try out today or at the end is a simple prompt like, "Hey Siri, screenshot the page for me and ask ChatGPT what it says." Remember, the best results come when you combine AI and human review. For example, tools like Audio Eye offer automated accessibility checks, but they still need human review to catch errors that AI might miss. We want the speed. Essentially, what we want is the speed of AI, but also the empathy and context that only people can bring. What we can do today, from today onwards, is spread awareness by sharing reliable AI tools and usability tips, advocate for inclusive AI in policy, education, and employment, as well as join equity-centered groups like Algorithmic Justice League, Black in AI, and offer testing feedback to developers. You can even just sign up to test accessibility features on your favorite apps. All right, so now it's time for the Q&A. I would love to hear from you what questions you might have and maybe what experiences or tools you have used and what you want to see improve in AI.
Those that are not comfortable to go on to speak can also communicate through our main chat, and I can read out the questions. Yes, Matthew, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Um, it's not necessarily a question, but I just want to say that thank you for for doing this presentation, and I love how you guys mentioned the fact that the constraints and the accessibility concern. Because I just saw a study that was released by MIT talking about how a lot of people the over reliance of AI can kind of essentially just kind of make things make you less it makes you less it makes you over reliant on it, and I like how you guys address that and how and put in those obstacles and how you guys aim to address that if that were to be the case. So I just want to acknowledge that in that sense. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Matthew, for mentioning that. For sure, I have seen such studies that have been coming out as today people we have been tending to just rely on AI, ChatGPT to do students now these days, their assignments, their coursework, and eventually they lose touch with that coursework. And they are no longer just as engaged with that material as they would have been if they put in some time to do that work. But one thing I've seen, like you can do the coursework and the material, then you can even use it as a friend to kind of just review and just some grammar mistakes, how you can better your reports. And I see that can be a better way and more positive way of using it, I'd say.
I had a question around obviously people without any technical training. How can one go around like questioning or auditing an algorithm? Like, I've noticed that even when you use AI, it can't regurgitates whatever you give it back to you. So, are there any specific prompts that we can use to get like more realistic information and not information that's just coinciding with what we're telling AI?
Right. Mm. Yeah, that's a good question. Uh, I'd say one thing is to not, especially when you're asking questions to ChatGPT, of course. For example, is just always be aware sometimes it can just make those mistakes and also not try to just always review what it's telling you. It keeps getting better. I've noticed there was a time, especially when it would just about saying before 2025, especially when it would just give you exactly what you just told it and confirm your opinions of exactly what you just told instead of the truth, like what you're saying. But with more feedback in the community, is what I'm seeing is that it has been improving, especially this year. They have been doing some testing and it has lessened that to a certain extent. But I'd say one thing is to uh, also, one thing it does right now is offer materials and citations of where it gets information. Just clicking on those, just taking extra time to click on those can also one way you can help and just make sure, okay, so this information exists and it makes sense with what I'm looking for. Just having that, taking the extra step to review what it has given you just usually helps at times.
Thank you so much. T has just asked, what tips do you have around privacy and using AI tools such as ChatGPT or others alike?
Right. Yeah, privacy is a big one. So one thing I've noticed is for the definitely for the free versions, do not upload your private information and sensitive data that can look like your licenses, your IDs, and so on. Um, and then, but then one thing they do offer with their paid versions, they now offer that security to say uh, we're not keeping your data or training on your data when, for example, the ChatGPT paid version, and that can help just having that version. And also, if you're using and being aware that when you're using the free one, your data can sometimes be used. to train data models. So you usually want to avoid uploading that sensitive data that you might want to not get out there.
Thank you so much. Desalane says, thank you for the presentation. Can you comment on how AI can be helpful in fighting ableist assumptions in society?
Right. And that's a good question. Mm. Okay, so um, well, one thing we can firstly start off, since we are focusing on uh the Black disabled community, we can start with how we have there are organizations essentially like Black in AI that push Black people into these spaces. So one way they have been just countering for example, vision tools, you see they might not, they used to not recognize Black people or not even see them, right? Or tend to just make us like mistake one person for another as long as they're Black. But this has been improving as we now have more Black research people in researchers and AI developers in the field with the support of groups like in AI. And then we have Algorithmic Justice League, which pushes Black people into these fields. So one thing is, like what I said, is just getting the Black disabled community involved. And it even starts with even just testing these systems, getting them in spaces where they are testing them, they are giving feedback to the developers, and also even being involved in the development. That will lead to combating these issues that like biases in AI, I'd say.
And I'm not very knowledgeable in this area, but I'm thinking of one tool that we use. Um, maybe tools like Order that take notes for people can also be take into account neurodiverse minds and can be used to take notes. And the more I use it, the better it gets. Like even picks up on like accents. So I think for neurodiverse minds, it's such an important tool because it takes into account that that not everybody processes information in real time, and some people might need more time to process it. So I think that's one way that AI has been able to be helpful in like making the world more inclusive. Does anybody else have questions? Zoba, please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I joined the meeting late, so maybe my question may have been answered at the beginning of the presentation. I also found out about SA Community Foundation just 2 days ago while I was applying for work. So, but it's interesting to know that this, because I'm inquisitive, I just decided to come on this Zoom call and get some knowledge. It's interesting we're discussing AI, and I just want to ask: is there a specific AI tool, not the general one that everybody uses, that is tailored just for the disabled people? In this case, we're discussing Black community, but is there any specific AI tool that is specifically for the people living with disabilities?
Right. Okay, so one example is Seeing AI, which is a free app that can be installed on your phone. What it does is it uses computer vision just to narrate to people who are visually impaired of texts or the objects, their environment, essentially, just and even emotion detection too as well. It's just designed to improve, I'd say, and also a designed to focus on the visually impaired community. That's one. Be My by Eyes, which used to just have only human review, now has AI, an AI version, Be My AI, yeah, which also just does the same to help the visually impaired. We have Oswald Labs that, which is a tool uh for text generation, and also it has dyslexic modes to just help people where we have that difficulty reading that text. And another one is for the visually, I mean for the ones where with mobility disabilities. One thing I've noticed is that the AI tends to be uh, paired up with robotics or uh, things like wheelchairs as well, just to help them navigate about. But those are just a small number of I would say a small number of examples in the in the vast.
Thank you. There's also another question from Marcel. It reads, Black communities are very diverse. How can AI overcome those differences?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. I would say definitely at the moment it's not perfect. It's really prone to those biases. As we already know, we are quite diverse when it comes to our skin tones, our accents as well. Um, if you're not if you usually when you find you're having some difficulty when using even Siri, for people like me with an African accent as well. So one thing I would say is usually community involvement, just getting involved in the feedback. Like when you use ChatGPT, you see that section, it asks you like, was this good? What do you think about this? Just taking the extra 10 seconds to just give that feedback usually helps in improving what comes on next. And as well as just having our own for the Black disabled community, just getting involved in the shaping of these tools so that they're not getting made without us getting involved. We are involved in tools that are being made for us. That usually just helps a lot.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? T says, can you share how we can share that feedback for other tools other than ChatGPT? So other tools they would be using. T, if you have any specific tools you're using, maybe you can share them in the chat as well. So yeah, the question is like, how can we share that feedback for other tools other than ChatGPT? So other AI tools, such as maybe Order.
Right. So I remember I mentioned some tools here. So one example of like the tools I mentioned, Seed AI, which is made by Microsoft. what it actually does is it gives an opportunity for the community to give that feedback. So now I'd say this one is the question is a bit broad. I'll say how you offer that feedback usually depends on the tool. Sometimes that feedback can look like going on to that website. Some directly have that a website or a section where they're asking for feedback, and some send out surveys where they're asking you, tell us about uh, your experience, how has it been? So I'd say it really differs from platform to platform. But definitely what they always do is they give out the opportunity for users to give out that feedback, and that feedback, the good thing about that feedback, it directly improves what comes out next, the next version. And that's one thing I really like about AI.
Does anybody have any other questions? And I was just wondering if anyone has any AI tools that they're using in their day-to-day life that have proven to be helpful. Um, I I for one know that like maybe to-do lists, there's one called Todoist, and it's been really helpful to make sure that like my day-to-day life is like well planned out and I don't miss important like appointments or like tasks. So if anybody wants to share what they use, please share them in the chat. Yeah. Thank you so much. So another question is AI is great for interventions with numerous disorders. We try to find holistic interventions for several disorders. AI looks like an answer for that. We have a bursary program where we purchase computers for persons with invisible disorders. Are there any hints for the software that can be utilized?
So from what I'm understanding, software that can be utilized in purchasing these computers, or is it software that can be utilized in just helping people who have like you say, these disabilities that are not too common, or
Marcel says general tools. So maybe if I'm getting this right, are you talking about assistive technology that can be added onto the computers for these people with invisible disabilities?
Yeah, what I found was we have numerous softwares that are on our computers as it is. Within Word, we have bots that can narrate to you. within the AIs. If we do the research, we can be able to manipulate the AIs to provide the result that we would like. So what I'm looking for is when you're buying a computer for somebody with an invisible disorder, which is defined as a disorder that we can't readily see. It could be dyslexia, it could be something like dementia, it could be Alzheimer's, it could be Down syndrome, could be somebody on the spectrum for autism, plus a whole host of different disorders. I'm trying to figure out the best tools that we can have that can be a holistic intervention to be able to help those with different types of disorders. If there are any tools other than what we already see, like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or something like that.
Right. All right. Okay. Thanks for clarifying the question. Well, yeah, for sure. One thing I've seen that definitely helps with people who have dyslexia also labs. It offers like in the name as you hear labs, it offers a range of tools essentially that cater towards just narrating the text as well to helping people who have those disabilities in understanding what they are reading and just taking that time with them to pace that work as well. So, and I'd say one thing I can do is I can compile a list of tools for people who are on the spectrum as well, and I can send that over to Amanda. I think that was a great question, and I do know there are quite a couple of tools, and I can dive deep into that, and I can send some resources, and hopefully Amanda can forward them. So,
Yes, I can share that list with you, Marcel, after the meeting. Um, if there are no more questions, thank you so much, Kelvin, for talking about this obviously interesting topic that seems to have taken over every sphere of our life and giving us practical tips that we can use while on the lookout for using AI. Actually, there is another question from Krishan. She asks, any AI for reading articles, etc.
right. Uh, for reading articles, sometimes even the website, it can be even Chrome or Edge. It comes with the version where with the I'll say if you go at the top, you can click on make this a reading website and then a reading version, a version for reading actually, and
Mm-hmm.
then it has a button there where you can just click and then it can start reading out that website. And so already some I would say companies like Google, Microsoft, they're already just embedding this into the tools we already use, like Word, our websites, just to help narrate what is already written there without having to use extra tools that are outside.
Thank you so much, Kelvin. And actually, Marcel did put a resource in the chat. He said you can use Copilot. Sometimes he cuts and pastes and places it in a Word document that has a resource embedded. Yeah. Let me see. There's another question, and they're asking, could you share those tools, resources mentioned to myself with because of course, Joanne, I will compile a list after Kevin sends them to me, and I'll share with everyone that's on this call. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, thank you so much, Kelvin, and everybody that obviously took their lunch hour to come and spend it with us and learn about AI. We still have other sessions in our AI and accessibility workshops that are upcoming um, next Thursday, same time. So please come and join us. We also are still we still have open, we're still welcoming members of the National Black Disability Coalition. So if you want to be a part of any affinity group, and that's youth, entrepreneurship, health, as well as research and policy, please I've added a membership form in the chat box, so if you could go to it and sign up to be a member, there is opportunity for honorarium, there's opportunity to uh, attend some of these seminars that are catered towards entrepreneurship, employability, and also forge community with like-minded people. So if you're interested, I just put the form. It's a SurveyMonkey form in the chat. Please fill that in and I'll get back to you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And if you still have any questions, Follow will be sending a follow-up email. If you have any questions, just send them to me and I'll get in touch with Kelvin. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you everyone for your time today. And if you'd like to stay in touch and ask further questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.